They themselves are makers of themselves. That's what you're doing. You're making yourself. You blaming everybody else is denying yourself using the power. And remember, that's the power you're using because there is only one. And when he gave you, choose the state, he gave you his power to make your world as you see it, as you dress it. And you're told to dress your world. And you've done so. Are you satisfied with it? If not, throw out the decorator and get a new one. I know it sounds easy, and actually it really is. And people who seem to be unreasonable, they're usually just desiring something. They absolutely want it, and they'll do whatever they need to do to get it. But you see, they usually know where it comes from. Do you? That's a question, isn't it? Do you?
It is a question. Do you? You said something. You said the people that know what they want, what it is that they desire, they'll do whatever it takes to manifest or bring about that desire. And that's the key. You often will say, but they don't love it enough. They don't want it enough. And we're not talking about a labor of mind or of effort, but getting in your mind's eye what it is that you truly want to manifest and become it. Would you agree?
That's it. That's it. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, everybody says it's simple, and then they'll say, well, but it's not easy. Well, I didn't say it was easy. I mean, you're changing your life. I mean, you have to give it a little thought, wouldn't you? I mean, that's what you're actually changing your life. If you change your mind, you're changing your life. Well, the first does the second. And you're not asked to labor on anything. You're told stand and see the victory. If you've said it and you believe it, then it's so. What do you believe? So that's what you should be working on. What do you believe? Because it's what you believe is what you're experiencing. If you want to experience different, well, then check on what you're believing. Because it supplies everything you need for whatever you think you should be or will be or have been doing. It's as you think you are. And believe me, God doesn't make mistakes. What you're experiencing is as you think you are, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I love that you said God doesn't make mistakes because he's given to us, as simple as we make this sound, he's given to us dominion over our world of existence. And how you utilize that dominion truly is this: as you think you are.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That is one hell of a burden to put on people.
It is. When it's fully or not rightly understood. I agree.
That's right. That's right. And that's the only difference. You don't understand it or you do understand it. And you're told that if you seek, you'll find. And what do you find? Well, what are you looking for? Because that's what you find, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It made me think about a quick story. A young lady recently had reached out to me, and she had a mishap with her teeth, but she didn't have insurance at the moment. And so she began visualizing a positive outcome and seeing the situation with her teeth being resolved. And so she reached out to a couple of offices, and somebody took her in. And so when she got there, they were talking about bridge work and, bottom line, to a tune of $3,700. And she says, this is not what I visualized. This is not acceptable to me. So she and her husband began looking for other offices that were nearby. And she found somebody, and they did a work for literally a fraction of the cost. Everything that she needed done was done for $100, and it was done perfectly. So she had in mind a vision of what she wanted to manifest. And she didn't stop at the first one, as many of us will, and say, oh, this must be God because this is the person that came to me first. She decided that this was not what it was that she wanted to manifest, and she, 70 times 7, sought until she got the answer she was looking for. Would you agree?
Yes. Resolute.
Absolutely.
That's the word. Resolute. You have to become resolute. And if you are, you get. What you're resolute about. So, look, everybody wants change of something. Neville said it. He'd never met a man who didn't want to change something. Well, I haven't either, have you?
Absolutely. Never. Not living. Not living.
Well, so there you are. What do you want? See, I in private interviews, people don't know what they want. They come in and they have what they're complaining about, and they'll tell you in a matter of a half an hour, they'll tell you their problems at least 3, 4, 5 times. See, and they're not ready to let it go. I mean, they'd be lonesome without it, and they think they wouldn't have anything to do. Why else would you keep repeating when you didn't like it in the first place? See, because people sit and they think about their problems, and all that does is it expands their problems. What are you thinking about? What are you feeling? About what? Is it necessary to be upset when you're told, relax, go into silence, feel after, and you'll find, what are you feeling after? That's what you want to know. What are you feeling? Because you are feeling after something all the time, even if it's reaching over and getting a cup of coffee, right?
Absolutely.
Then it's that simple. If they did everything that simply, they wouldn't have any problems, would they?
They wouldn't. And I think that the challenge is reevaluating what we call a problem. Because many times what we call a problem, other people see an opportunity. And those who see the opportunity turn it into a vast fortune. They turn it into a lifestyle. They turn it into the ideal relationship. You understand what I'm saying? Many people, it's our perspective or our attitude about life. Would you agree?
It's all about attitude. I absolutely agree with what you said because it's all about attitudes. Really. Your attitudes make you or break you. I know you've heard that. I know I've heard it since I was a child, that your attitudes either make you or break you. Why wouldn't you examine them to see which ones are hurting you? Because that's what's hurting you is your own attitudes about life in general. And not only that, even when you die, you take that with you. What you are an attitude about. That's the urgency of the clergy telling you, do it now. Do it right now. Because there's nothing transforming in life. Like I say, if you die ding-dong, you get to play ding-dong again. Over and over until you get it right, because nothing changes until you change your mind to change your world. And if that's what you're here to find out, you're given to do so. You're told worshiping God is using His gifts. So you must already have them, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You know, you were talking about attitude and problems. Many people say, well, DeCarlo, how can I create a fortune? How can I create wealth? Solve a problem. You solve somebody else's problem, they'll pay you for it. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's right. So are we solving their problems?
I hope so. I hope that we are solving problems and getting people to understand that thoughts create lifestyles. And pay attention to your attitude. I hope that they're hearing and then applying. See, it's not, and that's what the beautiful thing about this, what we're doing, because many people get back to me, and they tell us about the results that they're getting in applying these principles. Because, see, if only thing you're getting for an hour is entertainment, then we're not doing our job. Would you agree?
No, absolutely, absolutely. But if we can at least leave you with a smile on your face.
Absolutely.
I think we could. If we do that, we'll with most of them, we've made it. I know. Look. All I was asked to do was to deliver the message, and that's what I do. And it's as simple as it sounds, but you still have to claim. You have to ask, because since you were given choose this day, the one giving you choose this day is not going to interrupt you in your choosing unless you ask for help. And if you really ask for help, you'll get the help. And all you have to do to get it is accept it. And don't be worried about whether you're worthy or not, because get over it, you're not. I mean, Scripture tells you not one is worthy, right?
Absolutely. You spoke of asking for help. He says, my help is nearer than hands and feet, which is true. But often that help's going to come in as an ideal, as somebody pointing you in the right direction, somebody giving you an opportunity. But even after the answer has come, there's going to be our part to do. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. Look, a compass will point the way, but it won't take a step for you. Right?
Absolutely. I had to pause because I, just how profound, and you've said that before, and it's very profound.
It's true, isn't it?
It absolutely is true.
Essence of the messages that are true, isn't it? I mean, you read over the stories and you're listening to the stories. But what are the stories bringing to you? What is the essence of what they're saying and doing? That's the message. That's the message forever. As you think, you are, you do, you have, you be. And all you have to do is just listen to your own inner self-talk, and you're suggesting to yourself what you think, feeling, and that's all there is to it. It is actually that simple. And you'll get results if you'll stay the course. And the course is actually the course, how long, oh Lord, how long? Well, how conditioned are you to the ongoing drama? You see, because that is what is denying you all the help you're seeking. But if you're really seeking help, and you're doing so consistently, persistently as you can, you'll get the help. It's with you already. All you're doing is just turning on the light, and you're told you're the light of the world. Right?
Absolutely. You asked the question, how conditioned are you to this ongoing drama? And the other side of that coin is, and how resolved are you to changing it? Would you agree?
That's it. There's that word again, resolve. See, I was revelation after revelation has told me that the people die from lack of knowledge. They just fade away from lack of knowledge. And this is the knowledge they need to stay and stand, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And that's all we're asking, is just listen. It's your own message. You left it for yourself. And you also left yourself a remembrancer. Because if you use the remembrancer, He's also the comforter. And you can be comforted in your misery if you want to, because it's as you think you are. And he's not, even the remembrancer doesn't force you to remember anything. You ask. And if you ask, and you really ask, believing the answer you receive, you're on your way. It says, when a man orders his conversations aright, he will know salvation. That's simple, isn't it?
It is simple. And understand, when we're speaking about salvation, salvation is whatever it is that you desire at the moment. Would you agree?
Yeah, right. In other words, he didn't leave you here defenseless. You're innocent. That's your problem. Not defenseless, but innocent. And as you become conditioned to the world around you, you learn many things from hearsay and believe them, and then later find out they're not true at all. And all we're saying is that if you will listen to yourself, talk to yourself, suggest to yourself, are these things profitable? Are they physically giving you something? And if not, why not drop them? Why think upon the things that are not bringing to you a better life? Because you're thinking upon them is denying yourself. Because as you think you are, so you're in the act of denying yourself moment by moment, and then wondering why this, why that, why now, what? It's always, what are you thinking? Because as you think, you are. And that statement alone sets you free. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You often will say, we're always thinking ahead of our evidence. So with that being said, then there's no way in the world that faith can be blind. Because if you understand that thinking makes it so, as you begin to think, you're creating. The question is, what are you creating? Now, just because you think, and you think from the end, the how of the manifestation isn't to be your concern. Would you agree?
Right. That's right. God doesn't need your help. He can do it. He can do it by himself. He can change anything. And that's right, sir. That's right, sir. As I told him, that's right. He can take you out of that wheelchair, too. If any two agree. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Was it that simple?
It was that simple.
That's the show. See, people want to know. People say, well, they want to know, but they're not willing to invest the time to be still and know. And that's all there is to it, isn't it?
Absolutely. That investment of time, as you often say, some people say, that's the catch.
Yeah, because they'd rather watch TV.
Or 100 other different things than to go into silence and discover for themselves, I am God.
You know why? You know why they don't do this?
Why?
Because they have to face their self. That is a terrible chore, to face yourself, to admit this is wrong. This is not right. This shouldn't be. And then go on thinking about it. See, that's where you delude yourself. That's where you deny yourself. You're making your world moment by moment. Isn't that so?
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you just said. You said the biggest fear, if I can use that term, that many people have is facing themselves. Because if we come to this truth and we say, I created this life that I'm living. It's a byproduct of my thoughts, my words, my actions, my attitudes. Then I have to change, or at least acknowledge that I'm responsible. Would you agree?
That's it. That's if any two agree, and you agree with self. That's all it takes. I am with you always. I will never leave you. What are you saying? What are you agreeing to? What are you getting us into? Because I'm here with you. See that? People don't think that. And like one woman said, well, I've never heard anything scarier. She says, because things I say, that's a problem we all face, isn't it?
It is. And it's, the lady said that she can't even imagine anything more scarier. And on the other side of that is, there's nothing more liberating.
That's it. Nothing more loving. Remember, we're talking about the God who loves absolutely. So he's no respecter of persons. And believe me, he's not concerned about anything that you've done. Are you? That's the question, isn't it?
It is. And I want to go back and repeat it again. He says that God in you is not concerned with anything that you've done. Now, of course, the doing, it may hold consequences. If the doing is bad enough, it could put you in jail. But in that, God still loves you in spite of anything that you may have done, period.
In spite of you.
In spite of you, absolutely. It doesn't diminish his love for you.
That's it. That's your salvation. And that's everybody's salvation. So no one's lost. But the thing of it is, you still have all the ramifications, the trade-offs of what you're doing to yourself. They themselves are makers of themselves. You're making yourself. You've made all your problems. You've made all of your desires to just go away because of your fearfulness. It's only fear. God did not give you this fear because you learned it. You learned to be afraid. Look, I am with you always, you're told. Right with you. What do you want? What do you need? See, that's it. But you have to ask for it. I know what you need even before you ask, but if you don't ask for it, I can't give it to you because I gave you choose this day. And if you haven't chosen it, I can't give it to you. And if you haven't chosen it believing, I can't give it to you. That's it. That's your problem. That's the only problem you have. It's just overcoming your own idea of what is right and wrong. See, nothing's wrong. The whole world is operating according to how it should operate, according to as man thinks it is. If he changes his thought and gets others to change their thoughts too, the whole world will change. I mean, that's God's promise to you, human. Isn't it?
It is. You said something a moment ago. You said God can't give it to you if you don't ask. And it's not that God doesn't want to give it to you, but even if you receive it unaware, you won't know that you have it. It's like the prodigal's brother who had the fatted calf always available to him. And he says, Father, you've never given me a fatted calf. And he says, son, all that I have is yours. All that God has is yours. But the way that you receive all that God has is asking. Would you agree?
Right. You're choosing. What are you choosing from whatsoever? That if you don't really feel stupid, that'll make you feel stupid. What are you choosing from all I have is yours. There it is. He told you. all I have. In fact, he even gave you himself. I suffer with you, but you behold me not. Why? Because you're complaining. You're complaining about your situations, and when you do that, you get more to complain about. And if that's not enough, have another helping. I mean, you're making your world moment by moment doing what? Saying what? Feeling what? That's your world of experiencing. And if you're not watching those, then blind faith ain't going to help you. Would you say?
Yeah, if you're not choosing those, you're in the dark anyway.
That's
it. Many of us are walking out unconsciously blind faith. But faith in itself is not blind. It's what you're choosing. Now, either, as Mr. Lindell will often say, either you're choosing or being chosen for. But a choice is being made, even in your choosing not to choose. Would you agree?
Yeah, really. And you're right, because everybody on the outside wants to get something from you. But what are you giving? See, everybody wants to know. It's like I repeated from Hayakawa. Every time you speak to another human being, you either help him or help drive him crazy. And that's a risk that we take. Because even to our own safety, really. Because you're chosen and given and have God's gifts. And if you're using them, you're worshiping God. If you're not, then it's your own idea of your gifts that you're choosing to be, to do, to have. What are you choosing? You are choosing. People say, well, I'm not choosing anything. Well, if that were how it were, that would be okay. Because it isn't. You're choosing, aware or unaware. All we're saying is the more aware you are, the better choices you make. The better choices you make, the better life you live. The better life you live, that's the whole idea, isn't it?
It is. And I'm going to mention, before we cut this short, tools out there for better choosing. Go out to Metaphysical Art Theater and look at getting Mr. Lindell's 4-CD set of The Drama Man. It's meditative listening. As you listen and get these words into your spirit, what you're going to find is transformation is going to take place. You can get it in the hard copies for those who are in the U.S. I can send out the 4 CD sets with a few bonus gifts. If you're outside the U.S., you can get the digital downloads. And, of course, if you're inside the U.S., you can get the digital downloads as well. But for those who want the physical copies, you must be in the U.S. So as we're winding down and we're talking about blind faith, what would you say to the audience?
No, there is no blind faith. You're operating in faith. But operating what in faith? The negative stands on one side, positive stands on the other, and you're choosing. Are you? Are you choosing? You're given choice. Choose. Choose better. Isn't that all we're saying? It's choose better?
Absolutely.
We know what they're capable of because, see, they're saying that they're not capable. But you are. If you can complain, then you're capable. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And even the complaint, as we said so often, is a prayer.
That's right. And it'll also be answered.
It will be answered.
Well, sir.
Like always, it's been a pleasure. So, listen, they got a lot of great information on this broadcast. The question is, what will they do with it? But the choice is theirs. Would you agree?
What do I do with it? See, I have to listen to it to know what I said. Does that sound weird?
No. For us, often when we're listening, we're hearing it for the first time.
That's it. And there's always something pops up that I didn't expect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.